Primordial City is the first city in the entire Dark Sacred Realm, and the large Primordial Hall has countless resources. Bo Xiu laughed. Brother Luo Feng, with your sufficient battle merit, you can exchange for more resources there. The red-robed young man Qijin said, Brother Luo Feng, you carry tens of trillions of primordial crystals with you. Once you leave Chengfeng City you are likely to be robbed. Even if the three of us join forces with you, we might not be able to handle the danger. It's best to gather another dozen or so pinnacle beings, Bo Xiu suggested. Brother Luo Feng, you had peak strength before coming to the Dark Sacred Realm. Within Chengfeng City, it's easy to gather some willing to help. No need. Luo Feng gently shook his head. No need to trouble ourselves so much. Inviting some peak beings to escort also means owing a favor, and favors are debts to be repaid. The three of you can set out with me, Luo Feng said. Us. Bo Xiu and Qijin were somewhat taken aback. Even Bai Yin Divine Emperor couldn't help but say, Brother Luo Feng, we've mentioned before that the force led by Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 8 Wolves of Heaven are likely to rob. Facing their robbery we are no match. Bo Xiu nodded. The 8 Wolves of Heaven received gifts from the Celestial Visitor, and although their temperaments have changed greatly, their strength has increased. Once the 8 unite, we 3 can't withstand even a few moves. When the 15 Divine Emperors of the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor cooperate, they surpass the 8 Wolves of Heaven, and we can't withstand them either. We do need some help. Bo Xiu was very aware of the terror of the 3 major forces in Chengfeng City. Luo Feng smiled and lightly shook his head. If confronted with robbery, I'll just take action. Bo Xiu, Qijin, and Bai Yin were somewhat bewildered. I'll just take action? They clearly understood the implications of this statement. The combination of the 15 Divine Emperors of Secret Ruins creates a qualitative change. Bai Yin Divine Emperor looked at Luo Feng. Unless you have invincible level strength, you can't defeat them. Now that you've said that, I'm actually looking forward to their actions. Luo Feng laughed. Prepare, and once ready, let's set off. If you 3 are not assured and unwilling to go, I'll just go alone. No. We certainly want to accompany Brother Luo Feng. We'll make quick preparations and can set off shortly. Bo Xiu, Qijin, and Bai Yin all said. Luo Feng nodded and turned to leave. Watching LuoFeng's departing back, Bo Xiu, Qijin, and Bai Yin felt their emotions stirring. Brother Luo Feng means he has the confidence to deal with the 15 combined forces of the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor? The red-robed youth Qijin found it hard to believe. You heard correctly, that's his meaning? Bo Xiu nodded slightly. Could Brother Luo Feng already be at the invincible level? Bai Yin wondered. If he reached invincible level, shouldn't Senior Yuan and the others be coming to escort him? Bo Xiu frowned. When Brother Luo Feng emerged from seclusion before, that terrifying pressure instantly subsided. But that pressure. I felt it clearly. Brother Luo Feng must have made a significant breakthrough during his seclusion. I guess even if he can't defeat the 15 Divine Emperors of the Secret Ruins, he should have the assurance to escape safely. Qijin and Bai Yin both nodded slightly. To defeat the 15 of Secret Ruins Divine Emperor requires invincible level strength. But to merely escape safely, that's much easier. That same day, Bo Xiu and the other 2 followed Luo Feng, riding a warship as they left Chengfeng City. Luo Feng Divine Emperor has finally left the city, with only Bo Xiu and the other 2 by his side. On the side of Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, they kept an eye on the happenings within Chengfeng City at all times, leveraging causality sensing to lock on and determine Luo Feng and the others' departure. Luo Feng Divine Emperor has been in Chengfeng City for over 1,000 years, purchased many treasures and exchanged 30 million battle merit. Now he carries nearly 3 trillion primordial crystals. Should we act? Only less than half remains. The original total transaction amount was 73 trillion primordial crystals. Now more than half is gone. Even if much has been lost, it's still worth taking action. Missing this chance, who else will carry nearly 3 trillion primordial crystals? The pinnacle level beings exchanged these ideas. They had no fear. Below the invincible level they had no concerns. Since there is no objection, then let's act. Secret Ruins Divine Emperor transmitted the message, gather immediately and catch up with them. Swish. A flying boat silently departed from Chengfeng City. Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and his group have set off. Their secret treasure flying boat can traverse the void faster than us. Inside a black warship, the 8 Wolves of Heaven gathered, the dense dark aura permeating the entire ship, making its interior gloomy and oppressive, with only 8 presences influencing each other. If Secret Ruins Divine Emperor acts, we won't get any benefit. Luo Feng and his group are also 4 pinnacle levels. If they can just delay a bit longer, we'll catch up. By then we can join forces with Luo Feng's team. Haha, compared to Luo Feng, Secret Ruins Divine Emperor are better whetstones for us. Using Secret Ruins Divine Emperor as whetstones, perhaps we can make further progress. Our spiritual will breaking out of the braided cage, completely escaping pollution. The gift from the Celestial Visitor carried a degree of pollution as well. But this wasn't malicious pollution. It was a little pollution naturally accompanying a great opportunity. Thus the 8 Wolves of Heaven were much better off than Yuanxiang Palace Master, their strength even slightly enhanced. The 8 Wolves of Heaven already existed at the pinnacle level. With such an opportunity to hone themselves, there's a slim hope for their will to break out of the braided cage. This might just be our opportunity. The spiritual will has completely broken through. The Sky Wolf 8 knew very well that transcending the braided cage of life levels was extremely challenging. It's much easier to first have the spiritual will break free from the braided cage. The Secret Ruins Divine Emperor's side and the Sky Wolf 8 side have both pursued them. Let's go take a look too. Send an avatar to observe this great battle. There were just over 100 peak-level existences within the city, and information circulated swiftly. Many peak-level existences dispatched avatars to witness this terrifying battle. Inside the ancient ship, Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qizhen were feeling a bit tense. I can sense the causality of the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and others. They are swiftly closing in, Qizhen transmitted telepathically. It won't be long before they catch up. Not only the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, but the Sky Wolf 8 are also closing in. Baiyin Divine Emperor also felt the pressure at this moment. Bo Xiu looked toward the forecabin of the ship. In the forecabin, Luo Feng stood alone, gazing at the external scenery with a smile. The vast world spread endlessly. In one spot on the left, all matter turned into a stream of particles. This grand stream of particles flowed like boiling water, constantly surging and emitting dispersed energy. In a distant place ahead, a vortex of raging winds shredded everything. In the dark sacred realm, numerous harsh environments existed, making it impossible for weaker low-level primordial life forms to survive. What a magnificent sight, Luo Feng commented with a relaxed smile. He truly did not deem the 15 peak existences of the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor's side and the Sky Wolf 8 worthy of concern. For over 1,000 years of cultivation, Luo Feng had been using the Wisdom Book and the Eye of Life and Death as aids, supplemented with various cultivation treasures, maintaining a thought process speed at least 100 times faster. These 3 high-level primordial bloodlines containing mind consciousness systems, I've seen them clearly and studied them countless times. But their mind consciousness systems are the most suitable for themselves, not for me. The Heavenly Fire Shadow, Ghost Prison Disaster Beast, and 9-headed Chaos Beast each had completely different mind consciousness systems. The Heavenly Fire Shadow, its mind consciousness system penetrated into every part of life force. The Ghost Prison Disaster Beast, self-contained like a prison, self-imprisoning layers of life force. Its mind consciousness system also actively imprisoned and constrained layers of life force. In this form it could have an immensely large body, but most of it was self-imprisoned. Its strength for direct eruption was not very impressive, but it could continuously erupt. The 9-headed Chaos Beast, however, had 9 separate consciousnesses. Each consciousness controlled part of the body, allowing each to develop freely, intertwining and influencing each other. I obtained 3 complete mind consciousness systems, extracting parts suitable for me, to construct my own mind consciousness system, Luo Feng pondered. After perfecting through over 1,000 generations, my mind consciousness system now has a prototype and can perfectly control a millionfold perfect divine body energy reserve. Luo Feng was quite satisfied with this progress. Compared to before his seclusion, he had improved vastly. But in theory, the half-primordial life and death path should master a 12 billion-fold energy reserve. So I need to go to the large primordial hall, where my physical body can quickly reach 12 billion-fold, Luo Feng thought. Enhancing the physical body to a sufficient size, continuously experimenting with the mind consciousness system. They are here, Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qizhen instantly gathered beside Luo Feng, all sensing the surroundings solemnly. Through causality, it was confirmed that the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 peak existences had already arrived nearby. 15 peak existences? Luo Feng's brow opened, the biomimetic destruction eye, watching the surroundings with interest. Suddenly, the vast surrounding turned into endless darkness. In this endless darkness, there was no sense of direction or light. Luo Feng, Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qizhen could only observe their surroundings through secret techniques. Quite a formation, Luo Feng lightly praised. His biomimetic destruction I could see in the endless darkness. It was actually the united forces of 15 peak existences. Be it blazing hot flames, invisible annihilating winds, black liquid devouring everything, or billions of insects gnawing away everything. The 15 peak existences operated their forces in unison, under the coordination of the formation, leading everything to annihilation, to be ground to return to the origin. The realm covered by the formation seemed to be heading towards an end. Even peak-level existences would be destroyed and annihilated before such a formation. It's the Primordial Annihilation Array. Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qizhen were getting nervous and looked toward Luo Feng at their side. What happened to, I'll take action in a moment? The primordial rules operate, reducing everything to extinction? It has a hint of apocalypse, Luo Feng commended. The Secret Ruins Divine Emperor must have witnessed the apocalypse of the source world before. But this level of apocalypse is too fragile. Luo Feng took a step. Whoosh! Instantly out of the ship, rising into the air. Luo Feng stood in midair, perfectly controlling over a millionfold perfect divine body energy reserve, and instantly with Luo Feng at the center, the vast surrounding space began to collapse and distort. In the Battle of Yulan City, even with such a weak eruption of power, Luo Feng could tear open the seams of the world. Now, the might of his life form was vastly stronger than during the Battle of Yulan City, causing the nearby millions of kilometers of space to completely warp and collapse under extensive eruption. The closer to Luo Feng, the more severe the spatial distortion, and the faster the time flow. What's happening? The 15 peak existences of the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, initially hidden within the formation, Each felt how the spacetime of their location was collapsing. It was as though a very heavy presence was causing the spacetime to collapse. How stable is the spacetime of the dark sacred realm? Even short-distance travel is incredibly difficult. How could such a large-scale collapse of the world occur? Did Luo Feng Divine Emperor achieve this? How is that possible? The 15 peak existences could see the figure dressed in black standing at the center in the distance. At this moment they could even see with the naked eye how the entire spacetime of the world collapsed with Luo Feng at the center, where he was located was the core of collapse and distortion. The vast surrounding area twisted and was absorbed, the formation naturally shattered, and they were pulled by the collapsing spacetime forced toward Luo Feng. Spacetime is too heavy, I can't break free. Can't escape. Within this area of collapsed space, there is no way to perform space travel. The 15 peak existences despairingly found they had no ability to escape. In the face of vast world collapse, they couldn't form a formation, couldn't cooperate, each had to individually deal with the collapsing time and space. Each was being pulled toward Luo Feng. Luo Feng stood there calmly watching this scene. He only needed to stand there and the enemies would voluntarily come to him, one by one. We will gather the compensation within 1,000 eras. The Secret Ruins Divine Emperor spoke respectfully, and the other Divine Emperors had no choice. We will definitely gather the compensation, they all promised in front of Luo Feng. At this moment they regretted immensely. They couldn't plunder even a bit, but instead owed 75 trillion primordial crystals. At this moment, a black ship finally arrived. The 8 friends of Sirius on the ship looked towards the front from a distance. We've caught up. I can confirm Boshio and the others are still there, their avatars are still alive, they should still be holding on. The 8 friends of Sirius rushed towards the location at full speed with the black ship, but when they got close and saw the scene encompassing billions of kilometers, they were somewhat dazed and unconsciously slowed down. What's going on? Why has this spacetime collapsed? They were taken aback by the sight of spacetime collapsing into a vortex. Everyone knew how stable the dark sacred realm was. Only a peak-level existence could make even short-distance transitions. What kind of power could cause such a vast collapse of spacetime? The 8 friends of Sirius? A voice suddenly echoed in their ears. The originally collapsed range of spacetime expanded suddenly, instantly enveloping the black ship of the 8 friends of Sirius, capturing it without resistance and dragging it towards the center of the collapsed spacetime. Not good, we can't stabilize the ship. The collapse here is too terrifying, we can't escape. The 8 friends of Sirius were a bit panicked, and suddenly they could clearly see the scene at the center of the spacetime. There, a man in black clothes with black hair stood. This black-clothed, black-haired man was the absolute core of the vast surrounding spacetime. He exuded an oppressive aura that made them tremble. The spacetime collapsed centered on him, becoming more dreadful the closer they were to him. At this moment, Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qijin respectfully stood aside. At this moment, all 15 Divine Emperors, including the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, knelt before this black-clothed, black-haired man. The 8 friends of Sirius were shocked to the core. This scene was too intense. 4 peak-level existences, even if a few avatars were destroyed, kneeling was unlikely. But now, all 15 peak-level existences were kneeling. Such a wide-ranging collapse of spacetime is actually due to Luo Feng Divine Emperor? This kind of power far surpasses the peak level. He is an invincible existence. The 8 friends of Sirius instantly judged Luo Feng's terrifying strength. The Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the other 15 came first. Luo Feng looked at them, and now the 8 friends of Sirius have arrived. Are you also here to assassinate me? The 8 friends of Sirius were dumbfounded. The 8 friends of Sirius are savage by nature, most likely also here to assassinate Luo Feng Divine Emperor, one of the kneeling Divine Emperors said. They set out from Chengfeng City almost simultaneously with us, we just arrived a bit earlier, another kneeling Divine Emperor said. Luo Feng nodded, also came to assassinate me? No, we are not, the 8 friends of Sirius quickly responded, hurriedly saying. We just came to watch the excitement and see this great battle. The Secret Ruins Divine Emperor's flying boat is much faster than ours. We never had the intention of assassinating them. We were even thinking of helping Luo Feng Divine Emperor and fighting against the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor. Battling with the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor would also temper ourselves and aid our cultivation. We used to follow Senior Sky Wolf. In terms of resources we're not lacking. We have no need for plundering. The 8 friends of Sirius, though slightly tainted and a bit savage in disposition, remained absolutely calm in the face of this scene, not daring to show the slightest arrogance. Luo Feng nodded slightly upon hearing this. Makes some sense. Those 8 are greedy and savage, acting at will, Bo Xiu remarked, but their flying boat is too slow for an assassination. Given their disposition, it's very likely they would act against the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor. Brother Bo Xiu, you're absolutely right. We intended to help Luo Feng Divine Emperor and deal with the Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, the 8 friends of Sirius said anxiously. At this time, in the oldest large primordial hall in Primordial City, the first city established in the dark sacred realm. The large primordial hall covered a vast area, larger than Yulan City, and contained numerous cave mansions within. A silver-haired, silver-eyebrowed man gazed distantly towards where Luo Feng was. Using the secret treasure carried with him to enhance, the power of his massive physical body manifests in such a way that causes such a widespread collapse of space-time, the silver-haired, silver-eyebrowed man marveled. This power already far exceeds the peak level, certainly considered invincible. His physical body surpasses even the super limit level primordial wild hoof significantly, said a fire-red robed woman also watching from afar. Without breaking free from the braided cage, his physical body has already reached such a level? Truly rare. Confirming that he is indeed invincible, then let's report to the Lord, the silver-haired, silver-eyebrowed man said. I agree, let's report to the Lord, the fire-red robed woman nodded in agreement. Is he an invincible being? The 15 of us at the peak level joined forces and are completely powerless, this must be invincible. Shouldn't invincible beings be ushered away? While being swept away by the collapsed space-time, being forced towards Luo Feng, Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 Divine Emperors were somewhat unable to accept what they were experiencing at the moment. They had actually offended an invincible. In the dark sacred realm, the peak level is already considered the highest. After all, an invincible being is born and will be ushered away. Invincible means unchallengeable. Invincible means a high probability of breaking free from the braided cage. Once it's determined that a cultivator has the potential to be invincible, peak-level powerhouses would willingly become followers, hoping the invincible one can give them some opportunity in the future. We've met an invincible yet didn't become friends with him, didn't follow him, instead joined forces to attack him? How did this happen? The Battle of Yulan City just took place not long ago, at that time he was merely at the peak level. It's only been 1,000 epochs, how is he invincible now? Did we actually try to rob an invincible? Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 Divine Emperors were desperate. Rumble? When the 15 were brought close to Luo Feng by the collapsed space-time, an invisible force enveloped them, finally stabilizing them, all standing before Luo Feng. Greetings, Luo Feng Divine Emperor. Though these 15 Divine Emperors felt flustered and desperate at heart, on the surface they were respectful, not daring any disrespect. You came to rob me? Luo Feng looked at them with interest, while the space-time within billions of kilometers kept collapsing and twisting, leaving these 15 Divine Emperors no hope of escape. We were foolish. We were misled. We coveted resources and succumbed to greed. Please, Luo Feng Divine Emperor, spare us. The Divine Emperors pleaded, each one with a low posture. Bo Xiu, Baiyin, Qizhen, what do you think? Luo Feng glanced to the side, where Bo Xiu, Baiyin and Qizhen remained stable amidst the collapsed spacetime under his protection. They looked at the scene surrounding billions of kilometers, somewhat shocked. I can handle it, is this how it's done? Brother Luo Feng is already invincible? They haven't been following him for long, not enough time to accumulate deep ties. Brother Luo Feng, Bo Xiu was the first to steady his emotions, then said, among cultivators robbery is a major enmity. They came to rob, however Luo Feng decides to punish, it wouldn't be excessive. Even if he massacred their avatars, making it impossible for them to survive in the dark sacred realm, it would be justified. Right, Qizhen instantly followed up. Brother Luo Feng already has invincible strength, he only needs to spread the word to 5 cities, and the entire dark sacred realm will no longer have space for them to survive. Their words made Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 Divine Emperors somewhat anxious. Most of them emerged from the source world, losing a few avatars is insignificant. But if Luo Feng were to eradicate them, making it impossible to thrive in the dark sacred realm, the impact would be great. They accumulated wealth and battle merit to exchange for resources at the large-scale Primordial Hall. Without access to the dark sacred realm, cultivation resources would be reduced by 99%. We know we've made a grave mistake. Secret Ruins Divine Emperor proactively knelt down. Please, Luo Feng Divine Emperor, grant us a glimmer of hope, do not sever our path of cultivation. The grand presence of a peak level being proactively kneeling? The 14 companions hesitated slightly, but soon one by one they knelt down too. As the kneeling number grew, even those initially hesitant ultimately knelt down. We admit our wrongdoing, please, Luo Feng Divine Emperor, grant us a glimmer of hope. Each one pleaded kneeling. Clearly they could hide in the source world indulging in pleasure, yet for the chance of cultivating they chose to plead kneeling. Luo Feng watched them. Bo Xiu, Baiyin, Qizhen also watched from the side without interrupting. At this moment, only Luo Feng could decide the fate of the 15 Divine Emperors. Since you came to plunder me, you must pay the price. Luo Feng felt no pity for these robbers, but most of these 15 Divine Emperors were source world cultivators, whom he couldn't completely kill. Each of you will compensate me with 5 trillion primordial crystals, totaling 75 trillion primordial crystals. This amount is nearly equivalent to what I sold with that batch of low-level primordial life corpses. Luo Feng looked at them. Compensate me 75 trillion primordial crystals and I will let you go. Otherwise, I promise that the 15 of you will never be able to establish yourselves in the dark sacred realm. After this robbery and Luo Feng's demand for massive compensation, the causality between both parties instantly deepened. Luo Feng could use the biomimetic destruction eye to lock onto the location of each of their avatars anytime. 75 trillion primordial crystals? The 15 divine emperors present were somewhat stunned. Are we each to pay 5 trillion? Or must we collectively pay 75 trillion primordial crystals? Secret Ruins Divine Emperor asked first. Collectively pay. Luo Feng replied, one missing and it won't do. One missing. All the rest will be implicated. Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 felt a shiver in their hearts. Among them there are differences in strength, The leader like Secret Ruins Divine Emperor, whose formation expertise is among the top 3 among cultivators in the Dark Sacred Realm, can effortlessly offer up 5 trillion primordial crystals. But some weaker ones among them who consumed a lot of resources in exchange for battle merit, simply can't afford 5 trillion primordial crystals. I know it's not easy for you to gather 75 trillion primordial crystals. LuoFeng watched them. I give you 1,000 epics to gather. If after 1,000 epics you still haven't paid in full, I'll dispatch my avatar across the Dark Sacred Realm and obliterate every one of your avatars. Secret Ruins Divine Emperor and the 15 felt apprehensive. A target for the Invincible? When Luo Feng breaks free from the braided cage, could he become a target for a high-level primordial life? Or even a world-level primordial life? Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.